And this is where we spend most of our time before the show trying to think of something funny to say, but we both fail horribly.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Brian Smith.
Wait, who are you? No, I'm kidding. This week we're talking the details on our Disney deal, Brian. Like, the big deal of the week. Like, the greatest deal in the history of deals, is what I've heard. The Star Wars Last Jedi impressions. I believe you've seen it already, correct?
I have.
Great, awesome. The upcoming DC Extended Universe slate has also been revealed and kind of, like we said, pushed under the rug, and more. So, as you guys can tell, Mike is out today. He had some last-minute stuff come up. He's out taking care of that. I've got to be thankful to introduce, again, Brian Smith, friend of mine, co-creator of Comic UI with me, a bunch of other stuff. Brian, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Yes, it's great. When I upgraded my podcast microphone, I made a thing to make sure you got my old one, so you can start your own podcast. So
yes, you did.
Hopefully we start seeing some of those around in the near future.
I really hope so.
Yeah. So what else? Anything you've been up to lately that you want to share with the audience or myself?
I was out in a little 7,000 person town called Hudsonville, Michigan this weekend. Shout out to my sister and her husband, the Kelly family that hosted me and my parents, and let us drive them around, or let us have them drive us around their little town and show us all the eat and drink spots. And
were you up there for a day, or was this an overnight trip?
It was a weekend trip.
Okay. Did you go see Christmas lights on like houses? We
did.
Okay. Does she have Christmas lights on her house?
Yeah, they do. They have this awesome blinking light set up, and then they have those nets that you just throw over your bushes, and it honestly just looks really great. I can't imagine doing it the old-fashioned way anymore.
Yeah, I always think of it from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He's just up there with a nail gun, or a staple, or like a staple gun, stapling lights to a house. I'm like, you probably couldn't do that anymore. A lot of vinyl, a lot of plastic on houses. So,
but far too relatable.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's why I probably don't want to do it on my house. I'm like, I've seen this movie too many times. I know what can happen.
I'm a big fan of the do one strand and then the Grinch with just holding on to the strand like he's yanked them all down.
That's true. I might just get to the point where I'm just like, get one of those little laser dot things that swirl around the house. That just that you plug it in, just aim at the house and be like, good luck.
Just pray you don't look directly into it for the season.
Hopefully it doesn't fall backwards, hit some airplane pilot in the eye while they're flying and cause havoc afterwards.
Sounds like a good movie.
Does it ever? Well, that's cool. I know also, Mike isn't as much, but you're a big Pokemon Go player. We talk about this quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a good time with Pokemon Go up in Michigan?
Yeah, Grand Rapids is right by Hudsonville, and they have there were 2 different legendary raids I ran into, and I didn't get too many of the Gen 3 Pokemon, but I got at least 4 Machops in one day, which is very rare in the Metro Detroit area, at least.
Yeah, Machops are classics, man. When I got the first card game, the first starter set includes a Machoke, Machamp evolution is like the main focus of it. So it's got a special place in my heart, that's for sure.
Wow.
Well, that's good. And also, I also don't trust people with 2 first names. So your sister's on my list with her last name being a first name. So I just have to let you know that, Brian. So if she's listening right now, you're on my watch list.
Thin ice, Julie.
Yes, that's right. So, but also I gotta give a shout out to superfan Andrew Bagnara, Bags as we called him. He was lived next door to me in college my sophomore year. He wrote this really, really awesome message to me on Facebook Messenger about, the show and how he likes our content and the Star Wars review, and mostly how he agrees with me and not Mike. And then, that really means a lot to me. Not the part about Mike. I'm just teasing. We all have our own opinions on stuff, but Andrew, just thanks for listening. Thanks for writing in like that. That really means a lot to us, and our listeners are the reasons we keep doing this. We we obviously don't get paid a whole lot of money to leave our day jobs for this. Not yet, at least. Knock on wood. So, all right, Brian, this is where we jump into the news. Are you ready to get into this news? We got some big news this week.
I think I'm ready.
Okay, so the biggest news is probably that Star Wars: The Last Jedi is out in theaters. And if you haven't seen it by now, you're doing yourself a disservice. Whether people like it or hate it, lived up to their expectations, dashed their hopes and dreams, I don't care. You should probably watch this movie in theaters. What do you think?
I agree. The reviews I've been seeing are extreme either way, so it is a conversation that I feel like you just have to be a part of because you're going to be dragged into it at some point.
Exactly. And you don't want to be at your family's this holiday season and they're talking about Star Wars, which may be more divisive than politics at this point in the year. And then someone just ruins it for you. Because there are definitely a lot of twists and turns. But our initial impressions, Mike and I, we recorded our Star Wars spoiler cast review episode on Friday. It's available now. You've probably seen it if you're subscribed to us. You can listen to that, see what we thought of Star Wars. We have a 10-minute area of it where it's non-spoilers, and then we jump into spoilers. So if you're on the fence, you can get on there now. Brian, you're new. Don't ruin anything big in this movie, but what do you think of Star Wars? I know you were out there Thursday.
I was there out there on Thursday, and I left very happy. That was I would say, with Empire being 2 years older than I am, this was the best Star Wars movie that's come out in my lifetime. That's
a good note to say that. I would agree. I had a really good time. A lot of people know I'm not as huge of a fan of The Force Awakens as most people, and I would definitely rank this above The Force Awakens in terms of the movies. There will be people out there who don't agree with this, Brian, and
I would agree with that. Though they But better. I enjoyed The Force Awakens a lot, and this really cranked things up to 11.
Yeah, a lot of twists and turns and surprises. I haven't been this surprised in a movie in a long time, and thankfully, that's part of just avoiding the internet for the most part up until its release. But I think also the trailers don't telegraph a lot of what's going on in this movie, so I applaud their marketing approach for it.
I found it very fun to be wrong consistently in this movie about what was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, exactly. So, from us, go see it in the theaters. I got to see it. I had the opportunity to see it in IMAX. Had a really good time. A friend of mine, Jeremy, you remember Jeremy? He was in our hotel room with us this year.
Sure.
He's going to see the 70mm IMAX version up in Indianapolis next weekend. Wow. So, I know a lot of people are going to go check that out. Did you get to see anything good on yours?
We saw it in standard 2D, but I definitely want to run out and try to find it in either IMAX or in 3D. I've read some things about the 3D being pretty impressive, and I definitely don't think this will be my last time seeing the movie. So
I did not actually even think about it being in 3D because the IMAX was in 2D for me. But I'm seeing 3D showings right here, right now. So well, now I might go see it in 3D. Brian, thank you for that. So yeah, Star Wars listener spoiler cast. We recommend it. Go see it before anyone else ruins it for you. Something that was interesting before my screening. They actually had like a 15-minute documentary on with John Williams about the music of Star Wars, and how he was thankful to come back after all these years. From doing the first movie to this movie, doing all the main films, and how lucky he was to be able to do that. And that was really cool to hear that. So I think music plays a bigger part in this. And now the soundtrack is streaming on all platforms where you can, I guess, stream music.
Oh, wow.
So I haven't looked it up on Spotify myself, but I may turn on that Spotify this week when I'm driving to a house or so, and maybe listen to it, have a little background noise going on there to relive those Star Wars moments in my head.
I was going to say, I'd be really interested my memory for music's not always the best, so it would be interesting for me to listen to this and see what I remember visually. Yeah,
totally. And, I had some people talk about the Force Awakens. The music was kind of flat and just there, and that this one was much more poppier, like not poppier, but like it felt better. You can notice it a little better. Like I guess snapped to the movie a little better. So I guess that may be something. So, but if you've seen the movie and you want to hear the music, do that. I wouldn't listen to the music before watching the movie, though. You can go back and listen to some old of his stuff, like Duel of the Fates or Imperial March or something like that to get you hyped for it.
Yeah, a lot of strong music in the Star Wars franchise history.
That's
Even
true.
If you didn't like the movies, the sound was always there.
It was. And some people's favorite Star Wars songs is actually from MC Chris. Something about Boba Fett and his backpack has jets. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I believe I do.
Because that's my segue into the next topic, the Boba Fett movie, Brian.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, I know. You didn't think you're like, how is this happening? What does MC Chris
I'm
have to
familiar
do
with the show. I thought I was going to catch you, but you snuck that one by pretty well.
Yeah, it's different when you're just listening and not seeing it happening. So the Boba Fett movie is apparently in development again.
Interesting.
I don't know how to feel about this, to be honest with you. I'm a believer that Star Wars doesn't need to be the same, 40 to 50 years of characters over and over again. And,
Sure.
And Boba Fett has, it's kind of like Darth Vader syndrome. He's cooler when you don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
But they may be trying to salvage some prequel trilogy stuff, showing, Boba Fett's just a clone of Jango Fett kind of thing. I don't know, but we know that it was in development beforehand, before Josh Trank went all Fantastic Four on everybody and got fired from everything. And I think, kind of went off the deep end a little bit. So... if you were to watch a Boba Fett movie, Brian, like who would you put in there? Like, or not? I guess maybe not. Who would you put in there? Who would you hire to develop this movie if we have to get it?
Ooh. Well, so first off, I'm a big supporter in the idea that there's a whole universe of Star Wars that they can pull from, that we don't have to keep rehashing these characters. But Boba Fett is one that I feel like it's my guilty pleasure, and I would just love to see Boba Fett brought to life in a story more about him. Sadly, they would probably get my money on that one. But
does it say Star Wars? Well, then we bought it. Yeah, we bought it. I mean, who would I put in front of Boba? Like a standalone Boba? Like they could do kind of like just take the Gambit script and scratch out the word Gambit and put Boba Fett on it, maybe, or like a heist movie. I'm not. Are you familiar with the Clone Wars cartoon show?
Oh, definitely.
The newer one, not the old one.
The one it ended on Netflix. With the last season.
Yeah, great. So they had kind of like the bounty hunters there that could really be cool for a Boba Fett movie. Like if he's older and working with some bounty hunters, not Suicide Squad, because you know how we feel about Suicide Squad, but maybe in that vein, like a Hateful Eight kind of thing.
Sure, sort of Honor Among Thieves, but not really.
Yeah, they could all be hired to do one thing, and then they all kind of get picked off one by one or so until Boba Fett's the last one to do it, kind of thing. I don't know. It could work. It could not work. I don't know, but I think if you're gonna have him, don't make him do a Western style. I guess maybe Western or heist movie would be like not in the West, but you know what I'm saying.
Western would take it a pretty interesting angle. He's got the holsters on the revolver blasters holstered. You kind of get some cool dueling cowboy scenes in there. Yeah,
it made me. Well, when I said that, I instantly thought of the other bounty hunter, Cad Bane from the show.
Sure, with the big Man in Black type hat.
Yeah, and he had the southern draw, and I always imagine him with like some sort of like grass in his mouth when he's doing it.
Sure.
So to me, I could see something like that working if anyone's familiar with those characters. So I don't know who I'd put in charge of it though. That's for sure. Not Josh Trank. He's fired.
That's an ambitious ship to steer.
Nor would I put Phil Lord or Chris Miller, or who else is Colin Trevorrow. That's the other people Star Wars is fired. So there you go. If you guys have any ideas on who Boba Fett should do Boba Fett, write us in. Let us know. Tag us. Whatever. But Star Wars is only a small franchise compared to its parent company, Brian, and that's Disney. And Disney just made an offer. It's not complete yet. A tentative purchase of 20th Century Fox Studios. And this is everyone's probably seen this news all week. Like they announced this, I think, the morning of Star Wars. So you're seeing Disney, Star Wars, and Fox all over the news this week.
I've had people reaching out to me, asking me my opinion on this purchase, and every single one of them has had a different, how do you feel about Disney owning The Simpsons? How do you feel about Disney owning Hulu? How do you no one has brought up the same franchise that I care about that has been acquired in this deal. So this is very big news.
Mm-hmm. I hope it's the franchise I asked you about, because that would make me feel that much more special about just knowing you, Brian, and knowing what you care about. But we'll talk. We're going to talk about this deal. We're going to break this down because there's a lot of questions, right? Like, this isn't like Disney went to the store and bought 20th Century Fox off the shelf. Once they got the receipt, they're done. Like, this is a big thing that's going to take 12 to 18 months before it's completely wrapped up. And, that it may seem like a long time now, but, we will be in the midst of having the fourth Avengers movie done or almost done when this deal is sealed, Brian. Like, it doesn't feel like it's like it sounds long, but it will probably not be that long before we're like, okay, Fox is now within Disney.
They got us through 10 years of Marvel films pretty quickly. So
did they ever? That is this year.
Yeah.
Agreed. So Disney did not buy all of Fox. They bought the film and television studios, the cable entertainment networks, and the international TV businesses. I believe Fox keeps their Fox News that nobody wants. It's a Fox News trap, by the way. And the other thing, Fox Sport. I think they kept the sports network stuff. So this also puts Disney at a controlling stake in Hulu if this goes through. 60%, because Fox owned 30, Disney owned 30, Comcast owns 30, and then I forget who the other. Maybe I think Time Warner's owned by Comcast, isn't it? Some other company is 10% to make the full 100.
Huh.
And I learned this week. Actually, Hulu operates at a massive loss. Like, they've lost like $500 and something million this year, or this, I guess, quarter or 6 months alone on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, which is really weird because you pay for it to watch the stuff, and then they already have commercials in there already.
Totally. Tons of ads.
Now, maybe there's just some sort of corporate financial finagling in there that's like, oh, we're showing we're operating at a loss even though somewhere someone's making a lot of money on this. Mm-hmm. But, Hulu, as big as it is, to continually lose money, hemorrhage it, is an interesting take to why are they keeping it alive then if it's not financially sound?
Yeah, great question. They've cranked out a lot of original series, but it doesn't sound like they're really making their investment back.
Yeah, it goes back and forth because it's like some of the content is on Netflix one year and then it's on Hulu the next. Then you have to go back to Netflix the next year to watch your TV shows. And they tend to have a lot of TV shows on Hulu, with their new live feature kind of kicking off as well. That's where I watched the Runaways. Marvel's Runaways is on Hulu. So, right. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think the idea here do you think Disney will keep working, like keep Hulu up and running? Or do you think they might sell their part to Comcast, let Comcast have it, or kind of let it die on its own so they can work on their own streaming service, which I don't think would be competition to Hulu. I think it's different, but yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Hulu has a wide enough range of products that Disney wouldn't want to really try to sully their image with whatever else is on Hulu. And I don't feel like there wouldn't be enough room for both those platforms to exist. But hearing that breakdown was interesting. I thought that between Disney and Fox, they were more like 80% of Hulu. So I really thought this was pretty much Disney Hulu from here on out. And I can't imagine them selling it to Comcast, but if they're operating at massive losses, it might be a good idea. Yeah,
so Comcast is weird because they own what's called a silent majority in this as well, meaning they can't really do anything or make any decisions in the company until I think September of this year, or next year, 2018, which this deal will not probably be done by then. So okay. Comcast could be like being a jerk about it and be like, okay, well, you got to sell it to us kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know what Hulu. I think Disney is a company. They're not focused on just their products. I think they, as a business, they could be like, yeah, we could totally keep Hulu open and have another stream of revenue if we figure out what to do with it, kind of thing. So, but I also, when I think of Disney, I think more movies than TV shows. When I think Disney, even though Disney does have a huge library of television shows.
That they do.
I'm not looking to go watch Wizards of Waverly Place or The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody right now, but there are people out there who might.
I've seen them enough, personally.
Yeah, I can't tell which one's which one's Zack and which one's Cody. I don't know.
Oh, that's the twist. You got to watch all the way to the finale for that.
Man, those sons of bitches. Also, this purchase will cost Disney $52.4 billion. All the estimates were actually higher. They were like, yeah, they're going to buy it for 60, they're going to buy it for 75. 52.4, like, I feel like, oh, they're getting off cheap. But I'm like, why would I think $52.4 billion is cheap on the whole? But there's also a twist side to this. If Disney does not buy 20th Century Fox, they have to pay 20th Century Fox, I think it's like $2.1 billion.
Sort of like a wasting their time fee?
Yeah, kind of like, like you didn't follow through with this kind of thing. So,
okay.
I guess it's just like a safety net. Like, even if you don't, we put all this stuff, all this work into it. Like, you're going to want to follow through it because you don't want to pay us the money at the end of the day. So, yeah, there's that. But this is where probably you, me, 90% plus of our audience is going to be, ears are going to perk up, Brian. Mm-hmm. The details of this agreement specifically state from the Disney press release, the agreement provides Disney with the opportunity to reunite the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool, notice he's separately, with the Marvel family under one roof and create richer, more complex worlds of interrelated characters and stories that audiences have shown they love. That's a huge thing. Everyone has wanted X-Men. I actually thought Fantastic Four may not come with the transaction because there's another production company that had owned the rights to Fantastic Four since like the 90s.
Okay.
And it wasn't Fox was producing them, but the other company I think had the rights. So, but this confirms that the Fantastic Four are coming with it. And then of course Deadpool, which I think will continue to exist in its own little world. Is my assumption. I don't see Deadpool integrating with the MCU or nor a need for it to, but it's cool to know that they're very aware that Deadpool is a franchise and he's not just an X-Men character.
The man is a franchise. I have to agree with that logic.
Yeah, I mean, to a fault, really. To a fault. Other properties that will come over under this, other people may enjoy. Avatar will now be Disney-owned, even though they have an Avatar park already in Florida. The Simpsons, I know you're a big fan.
Huge fan. Very interested in seeing how the Simpsons are going to be affected by this as it goes forward.
Yep, and Modern Family. So,
another, possibly my favorite sitcom at the moment.
Yeah, I made sure to put these in here knowing I was talking to you as an audience member earlier this week. And now you're actually here, so I'm like, oh, these are things Brian's going to love. So,
yeah, Brian's been thinking about these a lot over the week.
Mm-hmm. See, I think it's going to be business as usual. I think Fox will, the TV station, will, or the network, it's Fox TV, is that, I don't know how that will operate. I think it'll be business as usual. I think they'll just have multiple networks.
I think with the Simpsons specifically being about 30 years old, there's a lot of moving machinery there. They'll probably be more than happy to leave alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those situations, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Fox has operated very well as a TV station. Its content is very different than you'll find on ABC. I don't need to be watching S.H.I.E.L.D. and then, wait for Modern Family to come on after it. It's fine. But we're also in a world where a lot of people may not watch things live and, jump to the on-demand apps. I know I missed S.H.I.E.L.D. this week, so I'm going to go pop on ABC after this podcast and catch up on it. But I can't go to my live TV and watch it right now because it's not on there, kind of thing.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be business as usual for a while until they figure out what can we do to make this better. Because growing up, I always remember changing the radio, the antenna stations to ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. Mm-hmm. I can't see that going down to just 3 cable ones, or over the air ones. Which one were people not ask you about, Brian? That was your favorite property you mentioned earlier. You forgot already? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blanking on which one this would be.
Always Sunny.
Oh yes, yep.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, because FX and FXX are included in this as well.
Yeah, that actually surprised me a lot. I would have thought I thought FX was I didn't understand the relationship between Fox and FX. So
Even though it's just the same thing, missing one letter.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people. I like it. I like watching FX and FXX. So, but again, I think a lot of those will stay, and then it'll operate under as it was. And at the end of the day, all the profits go to Disney, but it won't be like Disney's FX because they don't say Disney's ABC, or Disney's ESPN.
Yep.
So, reactions I've heard from my point of view are kind of good all around. A lot of people are like, well, it's a monopoly. Why are we excited about a monopoly? But I don't know. It's not like you still won't have a bunch of choices. Like it's an evolving field. It's definitely new territory, but I'm more excited about my characters than anything else. And being able to watch a lot of stuff on one stop. So what do you think? What was your take on it?
I worry about monopolies in general, but this is there's a lot of good news that is wrapped around this, and unfortunately, I feel like anything bad is going to be at least 20 years away, and I just can't think that far ahead right now. Too much excitement.
Yeah, we still got to make sure this deal goes through, so I'm sure it will in 12 to 18 months. Because the idea is here, a lot of the good reactions are coming from the Marvel Cinematic Universe side of things. And
all hope lies with Doom.
All hope does lie with Doom, because we now have the ability to have every Marvel comic book character ever made under one roof, that we know of right now.
And Fantastic Four, great foursome to get in the movies, but a lot of great villains are coming with that.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about this, kind of making like a list of villains, like the new villains that are coming to the MCU. And a lot of people are like, oh, that solved the villain problem. Well, the stories, have good villains. They can be written well. But who is your favorite villain coming over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe from Fox? Fox's X-Men or Fantastic Four lineup.
I think it's got to be Doctor Doom. We've yet to really see him shine in all his doomy glory in any of these movies yet, and the first Fantastic Four, I think Doom was pretty solid, but but there were some other issues that just kind of kept it from.
He can't hold his own movie up, like
exactly.
about Fantastic Four, yeah,
exactly.
And like you take Jessica Alba, the person everybody wants to look at, and make her invisible. That wasn't a good choice. That was a bad choice. Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna lean the other way, and my answer is already Annihilus.
Yeah, I definitely am excited for that one, but I feel like you've voiced this Annihilus opinion.
Mm-hmm. As we know in the comic books, Annihilus was, I think, a creature from the Negative Zone, which was introduced in the last Fantastic Four movie that we all don't talk about.
Fan Four stick.
Yes. But I have a couple comics behind me called Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest. That's where Annihilus has amassed this big swarm of, I guess, creatures from the End Zone, I guess. I don't know kind of what they were. Excuse me.
Bugs.
Bugs, yeah. It was a hive mind, I guess. And he's kind of gone through the galaxy just wiping out, planets and civilizations with this to take over, the galaxy. And it's very much like, I guess, if you want to talk about like Star Wars, a band of rebels with a couple superpowers team up to try to take this down from the inside. And it's very heavy. Like, this is where we got to introduce our current version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They popped up in this story. Thanos was in there a little bit. But, Richard Rider as the last Soul Nova was in there a little bit. There's a lot that could be played with this. And I don't know. Annihilus is a unique enough character that he could be, a galaxy threat without, having to, start from the bottom and build him up. I don't know. So
we wouldn't really need an Annihilus origin story. And I think he makes sense kind of operating on his own. I think they could really jump in pretty quickly with him.
Yeah, he looks so cool. He's like a little.
He does.
He's like a little bug thing with this cosmic control rod. Yeah, look up Annihilus. He's pretty good with Marvel.
Marvel has some good green and purple color scheme characters, and he's got to be one of the best.
Yeah, it's getting me excited thinking about how they design them, because MCU designs are really good.
They are.
But on that side note, the MCU's designs are really good because Kevin Feige is involved. He is the man, you know. He's our modern Stan Lee, if you will. And Fox's slate will move under Feige's control. So the movies Fox has in, play right now, we will not see a lot of these. Some of these this year. 2018 is safe. 2019 is kind of question marks. So we're gonna get definitely New Mutants, Deadpool 2, and sadly Dark Phoenix. But it also puts several movies' futures in doubt, like Gambit, any New Mutant sequels, Multiple Man movie, X-Force, X-23 spinoff, the Doctor Doom solo movie we've reported on, thankfully, might be ixnayed. Because I think Kevin Feige cares about continuity and, keeping the stories tight. Whereas Fox has kind of played loosey-goosey with the X-Men movies. And we don't know a lot of those that will come through. And I'm kind of sad Mike's not here for him to tell me, told you we would never see Gambit, because he's probably right.
I thought you were messing with me when I saw that word in the show notes, but I do see how he is still relevant.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I didn't think about this until I saw it written down. But Fox has several release dates already locked down for Marvel movies. Really? Yeah. 2019 they have February, June, and November dates, and then in 2020 they have March, June, and October dates. They may even have a 2021 date. I don't remember if they were ones to get one to 2021 or not. So, do you think Marvel will absorb those dates and release, instead of 3 movies, 6 movies that year? Or do you think they're going to kind of keep at their own pace of 3 or so?
It's interesting.
I know we want to see 6, but, what do you think?
2019, that might be, that would be a little early for them to start rescheduling some of those movies. Those are coming up pretty fast.
Well, they don't have movies attached to them. They're just dates at this point.
Okay.
So, with no movies attached to them, what do you think there?
I feel like with Avengers 4, that's sort of the crux of that question, because depending on how that goes, I feel like we'll sort of see what kind of pacing they'll have for rolling out new heroes versus, how much do you want to pull out or start pulling out right before you, potentially end your universe or reboot your universe. We really don't know where Avengers 4 will be going. So,
No, I definitely agree. It's something. They probably have, again, like 2 playbooks like they did with Spider-Man. Like, here's what happens if we get Spider-Man. Here's what happens if we don't. Well, here's what happens if we get all these characters. Here's what happens if we don't. But to have, looking at 2019, I think Gambit might have been the February movie. Captain Marvel in March. Avengers 4 in May. Fox Untitled movie in June. Spider-Man in July. And then another one in November. Like... I know Disney's got the money, but do you think they're going to keep those dates or give up some of those dates? Because Marvel does not have a single date of their own after Spider-Man 2. They're leaving. I guess no, they have some in 2020. I lied. Here's some 2020s, but nothing else in 2019. So, do you think they're going to crank out more than 3 a year?
That's tough. 3 a year seemed like a dream. 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember I was happy with 1 a year, and then 2 a year, and now 3 a year, and I don't know. I don't think 2020 is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. If they could hit 6 that year, whew, Brian, we'd be living in heaven.
We'd be living in theaters.
That's true. But that would also mean that Kevin Feige's 20 movie plan would be done within 3 years. So you'd have to add some minutes. I don't know. I don't think we need 6 movies a year. That's a lot. That's borderline fatigue worthy right there. Like, you're gonna get tired of it. But I could also see some of these movies not getting the theatrical treatment, maybe going straight to Disney's streaming service.
That would be a great place for. You look at James Franco doing his President Kennedy series on Hulu, and he's no stranger to that. I think if he wants to do his multiple man movie, a streaming service might be the perfect place for that.
Yeah, so I could see some of these things maybe not going away completely, but seeing a different home for them. So, because Disney wants content on their streaming service when they launch it, so
they do.
So yeah, we probably won't see anything changed or added until 2020, but we're gonna keep an eye on this. We're gonna keep you updated on the Superhero Slate upcoming release page. I'm gonna leave him as Fox until this deal goes through. I don't want to jinx it, and then when it's done, I'll update them all to say Marvel. So we're gonna do that. Also, the thing was Bob Iger was very specific to mention Deadpool has been and always will be Marvel branded. And he's got a point there because they do have the Marvel intro before the Deadpool movie, even if it is R-rated.
Okay.
But there's an opportunity for the Marvel R brand, he said, as long as audiences are aware what they're going into before the movie starts.
Interesting. So sort of like a Marvel Max branding rather than
Yeah, exactly. So like we talked a little bit, Marvel Knights used to be a thing. They had like 2 movies under Marvel Knights, I think Ghost Rider 2 and The Punisher Warzone.
Sure.
Because those were kind of R-rated. I think they were R-rated movies. And then those studios didn't go anywhere. So Marvel Max would definitely be, I definitely agree with that. But do you think people would be able, the average consumer would be like, oh, well, this is a Marvel R movie because it says Marvel Max? Or do you think they'd have to go outside of that box a little bit more?
I think if they could pretty easily just flip the color scheme on that opening intro, do more like a black and red versus the white and red, and it would be pretty apparent. I think you hear a lot about people taking their kids to go see some of these Deadpool movies and being surprised, but I feel like they're surprised about something they were pretty aware of going into it.
Yeah, I guess, ignorance isn't an excuse for, to get you off the hook because you walked into the movie kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but everyone's like, oh, they're going to Disneyfy Deadpool. Disney and its subsidiaries have made R-rated movies before. I believe Pulp Fiction was one of them, like a subsidiary studio they had.
Okay.
So Disney's not afraid to do it. Like, they're not slapping Disney on Star Wars. They're not slapping Disney on Marvel. There are tons of other companies that are owned by Disney. Disney operates as a business, and they're smart, and they're like, yeah, Deadpool, rated R, go for it. Like, if you want to be in there, maybe you can exist in the MCU, but we don't have to, bring in our main characters every movie to play nice with you because we don't want Captain America being associated with this rated R language and violence. So, I don't know. I think Deadpool will be fine. It'll be left alone. And I'm really excited for Deadpool 2.
Very excited for Deadpool 2.
Are you excited for the Disney streaming service? That's obviously this is probably the whole point of this purchase.
I am. They've got my money. They have the services or the franchises I care about, and having all the Disney in one place is a dream come true. And again, it's that 1984 Fahrenheit 451 futuristic anti-monopoly vibe is there, but I feel like we gotta trust them with how much they own right now.
Well, so you bring up a good point here. Is like they have a lot of stuff, and they don't have enough as Netflix. I think I told Mike that last week. So they're going to be cheaper than Netflix. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Like I would pay for a Disney app more so than I go pay for Comedy Central's app to get me just Comedy Central content.
Sure.
They may have a lot going on, but I don't want to go pay a lot for just one channel when I can get a bunch of channels here and content. And we talked a little bit about this in our messages about a random button for franchises and series and stuff. Because you've had really good luck with the FX app that randomizes Simpsons episodes for you?
Yeah, the FX app has just a play random Simpsons episode button built into their Simpsons World page, and it works fantastically.
Yeah, and I would love to see that. A random button for, hey, here's Marvel movies, random. Hey, here's the, some other franchises Fox owns, random. or something like that, or even like I mentioned curated playlists. Here's your Star Wars movies in numerical or in chronological order. Here's they are in the release order, something like that. So there's a lot of interesting ways they could play with this and make it stand out rather than just an app where you go and click on it and say good luck kind of thing.
You look at the Disney World in Florida, and they got their Tomorrowland section, and they got their Magic Kingdom section, and they're very good at curating and collecting these things that you may not see as related right away, but and you go to the park, they work.
And they pride themselves on innovation. Disney being innovative and being able to do stuff that other people haven't done yet, because not because they couldn't, but because Disney literally has the funding and they want to stand out. So if Disney, you're listening to us right now, give us something like playlists or random buttons for your streaming service, and don't make it like I have an issue navigating Netflix sometimes because there's too much content, and I can never just settle on something easily. You spend more time looking than you are watching, I feel. So
they can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, agreed. So, knock on wood. But Disney's coming, but they're not taking their Netflix shows with them, Brian. That's what we've heard. The Punisher is one of those shows and has been announced for a season 2 already. Are you surprised by this? Oh,
that's fantastic. That's great news.
It is. I agree. You can check out our Mine and Mike's review episode about the Punisher. I think we both liked it. I liked it more than he did. I was very on board with it. Brian, sounds like you're on board with this.
Very, very pleasantly surprised by the Punisher series.
Yeah, definitely different. Definitely a good thing. So they've already announced season 2. That was a really quick turnaround. I didn't think they would, and I think they're trying to slide it in before Disney creates their own shows.
Okay.
I think Netflix may be like whatever their contract is. We don't know. They want to keep creating Daredevil stuff. It will exist in the MCU, but it'll also be on Netflix, kind of thing. Disney could still have these healthy partnerships. We talked about the Hulu keep on running. They could be like, okay, well, these shows are already on Netflix and they're healthy, so let's keep creating them on Netflix. Give it it's not like these Disney and Netflix has to be mutually exclusive, right?
Sure.
Because you have Hulu and Netflix, correct?
I do.
So, but you're not like, oh, I like Hulu more. Oh, I like Netflix more. You have them because they have different content.
Yeah, they cast the wider net together.
Yeah, so I think healthy partnerships are still in the future. The internet likes to grab onto these things and shake some hate out of them and get your fanboys all riled up and stuff like that. So I'm crossing my fingers for things working out for everybody. I want to see mommy and daddy play nice together. That's all I want to see, Brian.
I think we all want that.
Yeah. So there we go. A show that does not have a home currently, neither on Hulu, Netflix, or anything else, is actually New Warriors. Did you know that? They have not found a home yet. But they were. We've got 2 new photos for them. One's a behind-the-scenes photo that was recently deleted of the cast here. The only one I can make out right now is it's Milana Vantrube, who plays Squirrel Girl there in the front, right?
Okay. With the bear hat on?
The one with the bear hat on. And she definitely looks like a Squirrel Girl, if I had to imagine the Squirrel Girl.
I can see it.
And I don't know the other characters' names that well. I've not read New Warriors. I'm going to have to go pick it up and read it, much like I did with The Runaways. But here's a look at the cast, and looks like maybe some sort of underground bunker or secret base. Looks like behind them, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know where they are.
Got some caution tape type stripes that kind of have a military vibe to them, or a police vibe to them.
Yeah, or a bomb. Could be a bomb.
Okay.
I don't know. So that was deleted. So this wasn't supposed to be seen. But then the next photo is actually from CCXP, which is the Comic-Con experience in Brazil that's been going on. And we get to see the official New Warriors logo. So if they're taking this logo down there and they're shipping it at CCXP, I think, they're still hoping someone's going to find that 2-season order, but they feel really confident about it at this point.
Yeah, this it now is I'm not too familiar, but this looks different than how I remember the New Warriors logos looking in the comics. So it looks like they've designed their own unique logo for this.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to Google search me a New Warriors logo here. And notice you type that in, you don't get a logo right away. No, it looks pretty much like the comic books, Brian. I think we might have some different ideas in our head.
Okay.
Let me see here. Well, that's old. Okay, how about this? Old New Warriors, like the 90s, does not look like that. But the New Warriors that this one is based off of, including the most recent one with like Nova and stuff like that, does look like it. So,
okay.
are you seeing the new one there when you Google it?
Yeah, like a yellow and black color scheme.
Yeah, there's yellow and black, but I see blue and white, yellow and white.
Mm-hmm.
So the modern New Warriors with Cannonball, or not Cannonball. What is that kid's name who blew up in the Stanford incident, Brian?
Oh, jeez. Cannonball's in my head.
Yeah, Cannonball is not there. Whatever. So the new one does feature this logo. So it looks like they're using it a little bit there. But that's okay. It looks okay. It looks fine.
Yeah. I'm interested in seeing where this goes. Happy to hear it's moving along.
Yeah, so the reason that apparently Freeform passed on it is because this is a very expensive show for a half-hour comedy with all the superpowers and super people, and wanting to use a live squirrel for Squirrel Girl's little buddy, Tippy Toe. Yeah. I've never seen a trained squirrel before, if I was to be honest.
I've seen one water ski, but that's about it.
Yeah. A lot of squirrels. I mean, I've seen the animated, was it with Will Arnett in it, the Nut Job or whatever movie he was in. So, yeah, I don't know. New Warriors is expensive. Hopefully it finds a home and gets its 2-season order. We'll knock on wood that the AT&T girl gets to be the Squirrel Girl.
Let's hope so.
Yep. Are you excited for Captain Marvel's movie?
I'm very excited to see this Captain Marvel movie.
Yes, taking place in the 90s, right before Avengers 4. They've hired Ben Davis as a cinematographer. Ben Davis has worked with Marvel before, doing Doctor Strange, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and Age of Ultron, which I think are beautiful movies.
All very beautiful movies.
Very much so. I think Age of Ultron is probably the biggest one, I would say. A lot of people may not like the story, but if you compare Avengers 1 to Age of Ultron, you definitely see the difference Ben's work makes as cinematographer on that.
Definitely.
But he also recently did the award. He won an award for this on 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. The kind of art house film, that's in theaters right now. But a lot of people are loving it. So he shot some award-winning films outside of Marvel as well. So
I've not heard of that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it stars. I don't know why I said that, because as soon as I said it, I'm like, I don't remember her name. People are probably yelling at me on the other side of this right now. She's in Fargo, the movie. The main actress in Fargo. Can't even think of it. Oh, well. Well, a lot of people like 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. So, yeah, there you go. So, Ben Davis taking over Captain Marvel. Going to take us back to space, I hope. Kree Skrull War. Yeah, that's what I said. Are you excited about the chance to see the Skrulls in the Marvel Universe now?
Yeah, I was always very surprised Marvel Studios didn't jump on them earlier. We were getting a lot of really strong Skrull storylines right around the time MCU was taking off, and I'm glad they waited. I think we're ready for that and a little hungry for that. So yeah, bring on some cool shape-shifting visuals.
Yes, right. I got to see those. Like they're testing the waters with Thanos. Do the rigid chins really work? Kind of thing.
That deviant look.
Yeah. Someone asked me this week. I think it was Forrest, who works at the AMC theaters. He asked me, who is going to be a Skrull in Avengers 4? And I'm like, that's a good question.
He's asking the right questions.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
I was going to say Hawkeye, because that would, like, if he dies in those movies and they find out he's a Skrull, that leaves him open to come back and be with his family.
Sure. Interesting.
But I think that, we all think the movie is going to end with someone dying and be like, this person was a Skrull the whole time.
Yeah, I remember Secret Invasion had a lot of very dramatic corpse reveals of Skrulls revealing themselves, and I think it'd be wise of Marvel to try to grab at least one of those, whether it's Avengers 3 or Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna have to play it by ear. and maybe have some more flashbacks go on. Like when did they get swapped out? Maybe when people weren't looking. But yeah. So Captain Marvel on its way. Avengers 4. I've got some behind the scenes photos here. Maybe a little spoilery. I'm gonna lean more towards no, more to speculation. If that's all right with you.
Go for it.
So Evangeline Lilly, who plays the Wasp, shared a photo of herself getting ready to be in Avengers 4. And if you notice, her hair is straight out of the first Ant-Man movie. And in the Ant-Man and the Wasp, it is grown out and she has it back in a ponytail. In her Wasp outfit, which is much longer. So this may be a flashback to Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man movie, in Avengers 4. Do you think the Time Stone's going to play a big part of this?
Oh, I mean that's a very good catch on the hair. Wow. I was just thinking she matched where she looked in Ant-Man, but you're right. She's going to be. We've already seen her in Ant-Man and the Wasp in some pre-production photos or.
Yeah, in her outfit and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah. I wouldn't leave. I would definitely not leave time travel out of the equation. That's a good catch.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to use it or use her, but that's one big way to look at it. So let the speculation begin for Avengers 4. And the second photo is showing Anthony Mackie back on set as Sam Wilson for Avengers 4.
With a very modest cigar.
Very, very humble cigar, if you will. Cigarillo, maybe. Do you think that's a Swisher Sweet there? But no, he's definitely smoking a stogie, just covering his whole face with this thing, being back on set. Maybe that's a celebratory cigar, like, hey, they didn't kill me in Avengers 3, or, hey, I still got another job kind of thing.
It does not look like an It's a Boy, and that's about all I can tell.
Yeah. It's a big old smoking cigar. So, Anthony Mackie, you keep doing you, buddy. If you're happy doing your stuff, we're happy you're doing your stuff.
That's right.
So I want to see some of him in that. I mean, I do like in the Age of Ultron, not Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War trailer, which I did see before Star Wars. To get to see, I don't know if they showed it, but he was. Maybe in the footage, he is fighting the Proxima Midnight somewhere. So, definitely excited to see his return to it.
Yeah, they took a very corny Falcon-looking design from the comics and really reinvented it into something wild.
A guy who talks to a little pet red-winged bird and has like a one-piece suit and some goggles. And yeah, they really made him like versatile. I agree. You nailed it. Deadpool 2 is coming up as well, Brian, and we got a new picture from it shared this week as well called The Second Coming.
I honestly laughed out loud when this one popped up. This is a pretty awesome photo, or rendering rather.
Yeah, so it's Deadpool and Cable in I don't know, it's Adam and God in painting.
Yeah, I believe it's the roof of the Sistine Chapel. That it's referencing, but we've got Cable coming out of what looks like a very Terminator time portal, and what I believe is Deadpool on a beanbag chair.
Yeah, beanbag chair with his hand out touching Cable's gun, who is pointing right at Deadpool. I also like to see, Cable has two guns, one big gun and one little gun, and the idea here is he's got the teddy bear, I believe, for Hope Summers on his belt there, and I think that's a big factor if they're leaving that in this promotional artwork. Like, we might hear a lot more about Hope Summers or the last mutant in the future that he's trying to protect.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by the teddy bear. It doesn't stick out right away, but it's pretty hard to miss if you look at the picture long enough.
Yeah, it's something if it wasn't a big deal, I think they could have just left it out.
Right, very not necessary.
Yeah.
So I think it is necessary in a way we're not aware of yet.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see like the first real trailer on this, not the Bob Ross painting teaser trailer we got. I want to see some footage. I want to see some guns and explosions and, like you said, a very Terminator-y time bubble that he's popping out of. So knock on wood. Really, really excited to see that one. The New Mutants also is coming out April. I'm really excited for New Mutants. It sounds like are you feeling the same hype for New Mutants, Brian?
Yeah, very on board.
And we got some new teasers here for these characters that we watched right before the show. And the first up is one for Cannonball.
Yep.
And Cannonball's played by Charlie Heaton, who is in the Stranger Things shows as, I think, Will's older brother.
Okay.
And Cannonball, as we know, we know much later in comic books. Brian and I read the New Avengers, and he's a mutant who can take off like a rocket. And he calls Cannonball because he flies like a rocket. And I think he's like nearly invulnerable as he's flying around.
I believe that's right.
And in this one, his powers manifested when he was in a cave mine working in Kentucky for his family, the cave collapsed, and that's when his powers manifested. And it looks like this teaser might be throwing hints that we may be returning to that little that coal mine to see his powers come to life in this one.
Yeah, I believe the first time I ever heard about Cannonball was in the Christopher Yost's X-Men Evolution cartoon, and he was a very southern character in that, but he wasn't one of the main X-Men, sort of sporadically used. And I definitely get a coal mine cave type of vibe from this, so maybe we're going to get a little bit topical with some sort of, West Virginian coal mining small hometown that Cannonball is affected by.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that plays out, because this is going to be a horror movie like we've never seen. So I don't even know what we're going to get.
The style of the text and the horror vibe, the poster you guys talked about last week, I believe it was. I have been totally caught off guard by this horror vibe for this movie. I'm on board, but I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and you went up and actually you looked up the same the Frighteners poster that Mike was talking about.
Yeah,
because he texted it to me during the show, then you sent it to me later, and they're definitely pulling from that Frighteners vibe from the poster.
Yeah, they seem to have some real horror fans working on this, which just makes it exciting.
Yeah, it definitely does. And speaking of horror, the second teaser we got earlier, I think the first one we actually got this week, shows Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones teasing her transformation into Wolfsbane. But also focusing very heavily on her Catholic faith, which is a big to the character. Like, her family are devout Catholics, and this curse that she turns into simply to a werewolf as her mutant ability is like very strenuous on that, on her and her family and her religion. And like, they're like, you can't be this thing. And that's why they send her away to this. So
yeah, X-Men have some great Christian characters that you got Nightcrawler that's monstrous, but you also have Angel who's very angelic, and anytime X-Men touches on religion, I think they have a very unique opportunity to sort of poke some barbs and make some statements that really work well.
Yeah, and their characters feel real. Like, their characters aren't there just to cause problems with it. They're like, these are people that you would come across in real life, kind of thing. So they just happen to have super abilities in the comic books. So yeah, I'm excited for New Mutants. That's in April, so not a long wait for that one, man. Like, we might be seeing that beforehand. Are you on board the Titans live action TV show?
It's gonna be CW, correct?
No, it'll be WB's own streaming service.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
I thought it had a very like Watchmen kind of vibe to it, which doesn't really fit with CW, but CW's kind of, they've done a pretty good job, I would say, overall with their DC franchises. Mm-hmm. Hawk and Dove are not two characters I'm super familiar with, but at the same time, they can't really offend me with that.
Right, so we have left, which looks like Harvey Birdman on the left.
Yeah.
And then some girl with like long... the girl's outfit doesn't sell me as much as the guy's does. Hers is like very kind of soft and like looks like it was like fake feathers cut out of it. But I don't know what they do either. So like, these are going to be some characters they're going to have to introduce to us pretty hard and fast in this Titan show if I end up, maybe trying the free week of the WB streaming service.
It also kind of reminds me of I'm not going to be able to remember both of their names, but Jim Carrey's character in Kick-Ass 2, was it
General something?
Ooh, yeah.
Not General Disarray. That's South Park. Gonna look it up here. I'm gonna have to look it up. You've got me looking up here. Jim Carrey, Colonel Stars and Stripes.
Okay. And didn't he have a daughter in that one, or
well,
am I blending my kick-ass characters?
I think you're blending them together because there's also Chloe Grace Moretz's Hit Girl.
Okay, and then Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy was Nicolas Cage.
That's it. It'd be hard to top those two, and this kind of gets that. I mean, from a still image, that's kind of the vibe I get. Father-daughter crime fighters.
Yeah. I think I don't think the age difference is that much here. I just think it looks that way. I've never watched Teen Titans or gotten into the Teen Titans thing. That's more of, I guess, Mike's area, so he might be able to talk more about this later. But I mean, I guess they're okay costumes. The little mask on Dove's face looks a little weird.
Yeah,
kind of spider people. Yeah.
I know with DC's Rebirth, they've really differentiated between the Teen Titans and the Titans, but I also don't really know what that differentiation is.
Yeah, I don't think they know here either, because the guy they cast to play Nightwing was shown in a Robin suit to begin with.
Yeah.
So, but if they're showing us these photos, that means they're probably about to be filming outside in the public with these characters. So, I think they're just kind of getting us ready, like, hey, if you see some leaked photos, here's what they really look like, kind of thing. Are you kept up with the other WB shows at all?
Let's see. I am. Oh, I'm real behind in Flash. Supergirl, I'm up to. I finished. The answer is no. I'm behind in almost all of them.
All right. Did you know that the character Arsenal left Arrow, like the show? The actor left the show for a while.
No.
Yeah, he left a couple. I think in season 3, maybe 4. But he's supposed to be coming back. Colton Haynes is coming back as Arsenal in the 6th season for a new arc. So, if you're interested in the Red Arrow, I guess I don't know what his name's Arsenal is what I remember. Will be an Arrow coming up this coming spring. I guess or when the show comes back this spring.
Okay.
I guess it's still winter, but 2018. You know what I'm saying.
I do.
After the winter break.
It's been an up and down show too, but from what I understand, it has really bounced back from some of the more magic and mystical themes that it had earlier, and from what I've read in reviews, fans seem to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I know the season break and the crossover really pissed off a bunch of their fans enough to change the Arrow Reddit to the Punisher Reddit because they were like, we're not going to put up with your stupid stuff in Arrow. So I don't even know if that. I'm gonna look this up now. Did the Reddit change back?
I'm not sure.
Let's see here. Reddit.com/Arrow. Oh, it's back to Arrow. They've forgiven. 2 days ago, Arrow went back to Arrow. So maybe some good faith is on their way with this. So well,
let's hope so.
Cross our fingers for them as well. But lastly, speaking of the DC news, we got the DC movie news. 2 topics of DC movie news here, Brian.
Okay.
And honestly, I thought this was going to be the biggest news of the week. The DC have announced or declared their upcoming film slate, or the films they're working on for DC, at least that we know of. So we know that these next few movies that I'm going to name are in progress right now, and DC will acknowledge them to the public.
What do they got for us?
They have Wonder Woman 2, and that's Roman numeral 2, not a number 2. Aquaman, Suicide Squad number 2.
Inevitable.
Flashpoint, Shazam, Batgirl, The Batman, Justice League Dark, and Green Lantern Corps.
Ooh. Now, somehow I had not paid attention to Green Lantern Corps. That's exciting.
Green Lantern Corps I'm really excited for that. I think that's the buddy cop movie they're trying to get onto, like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, buddy cop kind of thing in space. So that was cool. I think the one that surprised me the most is Justice League Dark is back on.
That's shocking to me.
Because they were like, oh, Justice League Dark's not going to... Guillermo del Toro's not going to do it. We're going to make a cartoon movie about it. Okay, great. Well, that came and went, and I think not a lot of people were too impressed with it, if I remember. And now it's back on the movie docket. So that's cool to me.
I'm not a huge Swamp Thing fan, but Christy Blanche, who's was a professor at Ball State, had a lot of recommendations at C2E2 a couple years ago about Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing, and got me reading some Swamp Thing and some New 52 Swamp Thing. And the Justice League Dark animated movie, he was probably my favorite character. Him and Batman interact in a very... Batman has to detect things, and Swamp Thing just is aware of them. That really worked well in a cartoon. I do have to agree the movie as a whole was kind of shaky, but I thought they offered a good dynamic, and that's a character I think could really bring a lot of unique visuals to a movie.
Well, you're lucky because we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But let's talk about the movies that are not on this list, Brian.
Yeah.
That's probably that's the biggest thing. It's not what you see, it's what you don't see.
Agreed.
As of right now, if I go pull up the Superhero Slate release list, Cyborg is on the list for April 3rd, 2020, and Green Lantern Corps was for June 19th, 2020, so afterwards.
Okay.
As of right now, they did not mention Cyborg at all on the upcoming movie list. They've not talked about Deathstroke, Gotham City Sirens, the Harley Quinn standalone movie, the Joker versus Harley Quinn standalone movie, the Nightwing movie, the standalone Joker movie, or the long-rumored Justice League 2 has now been taken off the docket.
For me, the Justice League 2 one was not just surprising, but a little insulting. Handing us Justice League 1 with Steppenwolf really laid some groundwork for a good Darkseid is Coming plot, and unless Justice League Dark is a cutesy name on Darkseid, it doesn't sound like we're getting that anytime soon, and that's a little upsetting considering we had to sit through Justice League 1.
Yeah, so Justice League, I just realized Justice League is scheduled for 2019, actually, before Wonder Woman 2 from Warner Brothers. So that means that Justice League 2 and Cyborg, they've removed 2 movies from the release dates they've already announced. And a lot of these don't. A lot of these other ones don't even have release dates, like Batman or Batgirl, Suicide Squad 2. But yeah, they've really kind of shuffled up their slate a little bit, if you will, after the lackluster Justice League turnout, I guess.
Yeah, that's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah, Wonder Woman blew people away. I believe my wife is watching Wonder Woman right now as we record this. So excellent. I know a lot of people love Wonder Woman. Great year for that. Not a good year for Justice League, but we can definitely know that the second one's not immediately on the horizon. Maybe they're gonna right that ship again. They keep righting the ship, right? So
this is true. We got a lot of. Without going too deep into Justice League, we got a lot of connections to the Wonder World mythology in Justice League. So I am very excited for Wonder Woman 2, and it is possible we'll get a little bit more of that New Gods vibe from Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah, they're kind of setting her up to be maybe like the forefront of the franchise now.
That would be a smart decision.
Yeah, let a woman lead your team. Let her mythos guide the world and everything around it, and then the other characters are kind of just fall into place. So, much like Iron Man was, the accidental MCU lead, this might be the way Wonder Woman takes off. But you mentioned Justice League Dark in the animations, and we've got some actual test concept art and test animations from this movie from a 2015 pitch right here to look at, Brian. And first and foremost, on the first page, we get to see Swamp Thing standing here in his glory.
First and foremost, he is right there.
Yeah, they didn't hold back on Swamp Thing, man.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with this concept art. I think don't change a thing from him, and he looks like he's gonna be living, walking, talking plant, and
protecting the green fits. Is what he does. He protects the green.
This is true.
But also included with that is actually animation test footage of Swamp Thing walking around with fireflies orbiting him. So if you get to watch that footage on that, it's from Vimeo. It's actually really cool watching him. Like, it looks like they took it out of a video game, but he's a little mossier in there. But I think it's cool. I think it looks good.
Yeah, he's got some cool particle effects on him.
Yeah. So there's definitely that. The second page shows the villain, which is actually the Floronic Man. Are you familiar with the Floronic Man?
I am not. This is a very impressive design, but it's not a character I've heard of.
He looks like he's made out of tree bark and like decay, but he could also be he's simply a villain out of a Guillermo del Toro movie, or like a demon in another movie.
Yeah, very Pan's Labyrinth kind of vibe to him, which I believe was also del Toro.
Yeah, they mention below that it looks very much like the evil version of a monster from J.A. Bayona's A Monster Calls, but I've never seen the movie.
I have not seen that.
Okay, well I'm gonna look up Floronic. I googled Floronic Man while you're talking about here. Apparently he first appeared in Flash, or in Atom #1, and then the Flash, and then Swamp Thing as different versions.
That's an interesting origin.
And he was apparently in the movie Batman and Robin as like a scientist in there.
Huh.
So, yeah, I'm just kind of looking through here trying to figure out where the film Batman and Harley Quinn. Have you watched that animated movie yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't got my hands on a copy of that one.
Apparently, he's the main antagonist. So we're sitting here talking about this guy who was just recently in a movie that just came out. So everyone else probably thinks we're stupid, Brian. we showed our cards too early. But there's a Floronic Man who looks pretty cool. I like the look of him.
Yeah, I approve.
Yeah. Second up, we get Natalie Dormer as Zatanna Zatara.
Shocking.
Yes.
Very shocking design here. Love Natalie Dormer. So would never a beautiful blonde actress would never have pegged her for Zatanna, but they look like they put some black coloring over her hair, and son of a bitch, she looks like Zatanna.
So they definitely gave it, like, Zatanna's normally in like her magician's outfit looking thing. This is a punk rocker Zatanna, if you will. A Guns N' Roses crop top, tattoos, bullets for a belt, and torn leggings.
It's more of a not your Harry Houdini magician, but more of a little Chris Angel vibe.
Yeah, I could totally I could do like she knows magic, but she doesn't want to do it all the time, kind of thing. So, that's very interesting. And she may be up for the role since her character was killed off in Game of Thrones. So, I don't know. We'll see about that. Probably, again, most inspired choice of this is Dan Stevens as Constantine.
Yeah.
Dan Stevens is known for his role in Legion as the title character, or the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and some other movies. Again, as it notes here on the website, all this concept art was done in 2015 before Dan Stevens was even a breakout hit. So,
wow, the foresight that this was done before the Legion show is very impressive to me, because this was not an actor I'd heard of before Legion, and talk about somebody who's just fascinating to watch not explain something. That's him, and I think that could really work for a John Constantine character.
Yeah, I say of all the options, he's probably the least likely to be cast now because of his Legion work and his big work. But I mean, if they can get him to do it, it might be, like I said, an inspired choice for sure.
Definitely.
Another character I didn't think that would be in the movies anytime soon was Deadman, and they've obviously done some concept work for a very CG based Deadman here.
Yeah, I would. I mean, Justice League Dark was a surprise to me in general, but Deadman, he was in the animated Justice League Dark cartoon, and he was pretty fun as well. But seems like a difficult character to bring alive. No pun intended there. On screen, he's if I remember correctly, he's only visible to the people he chooses to be visible to, and then possesses living bodies. So I'm actually more excited to see them try to pull off somebody like Natalie Dormer acting like they're possessed by Deadman than to see Deadman floating around. But this is a very intimidating looking Deadman. This is not your mama's Deadman.
Yeah. So when I think of Deadman, like I remember from I think Brightest Day,
okay,
and Blackest Night, but he's very smooth skinned. Does not look nearly as ethereal as this character looks.
Yeah.
He's very see-through. He's very like decrepit, like decaying. Not decaying, but like imagine a corpse sucked dry, kind of thing. So it definitely looks scary, and that'd be okay. Everything doesn't need to be fun and games.
Not in a dark movie.
Not in a movie with the word dark in it. That's for sure. And lastly is Chiwetel Ejiofor as Jason Blood / Etrigan the Demon. And while Chiwetel Ejiofor is on the Doctor Strange movie path now, I don't see a lot in this other than he's glowing his eyes red and does not look very much like Etrigan at all. So
yeah, Etrigan seems like a difficult character to pull off. I feel like it would be very almost offensive to take away from his rhyming. He speaks in rhymes in all his appearances, and it's a very recognizable Etrigan trait, but I also don't know how you pull that off in a movie without being unbelievably cheesy.
Yeah, I mean, it could possibly be like he's inhuman most of the time, but like when Etrigan takes over here, he spits out, he talks in those little rhymes, kind of like maybe like a Gollum Smeargle kind of thing.
I'd be intrigued by that.
Yeah, so I definitely don't know, but Etrigan is a demon. I believe he's tied to this character Jason Blood, and he has to say a rhyme to come out and be that person. Is that how I'm getting it?
That matches with what I remember about him.
Yeah, like here's the poem, and he usually recites, "Gone, gone, O form of man, rise the demon Etrigan," and then he becomes that demon. So there we go. You speak a poem, you turn into a demon, Brian. That sounds about right. So there's the Justice League Dark stuff. That looks really cool. I'm glad the director Joseph Kahn was able to put that online for people to take a look at, even though it may not come through. But maybe with that announcement at CCXP, they may be like, okay, well maybe we can come back and revisit some of that stuff. And
I think
yeah, go ahead.
I think that'd be a great idea for them to test the waters with this.
Yeah, I agree. Lastly, Brian, I didn't type this in the notes because I want to talk with you about it, but Dragon Ball has a new movie coming out.
Really?
In 2018, yes. Dragon Ball, not Z, not Super, not Kai, not GT, Dragon Ball.
And movie.
Yes, movie.
Wow.
Apparently, it's a movie about the history of the Saiyan race and how they came to be, and maybe even the history of the first Super Saiyan God. And like his rebellion he started on the planet, I guess maybe Vegeta or whatever it was called back then.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z lately, and I know you have as well. And, when you're stuck in something, all that information just happens to pop up when you're not expecting it. So, they're looking to release that Dragon Ball movie with input from the creator, Akira Toriyama, and
ooh, there you go.
Revisit some history in the Dragon Ball universe. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely think the Saiyans were something that we never really got in the series outside of maybe some of the movies showing us a little bit of Vegeta right before the planet exploded, but I'm not hearing anything about the Dragon Balls being in the movie, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but it's surprising.
Yeah, well, some of the movies don't have to do anything with Dragon Balls either.
That's true.
Like, I think the first one that showed the history of Saiyans was Bardock, and showed about Goku's father. It had nothing to do with it, so
okay. They're
just saying it's in the universe. It's here. It's Dragon Ball. Gotta rock the dragon, Brian. Gotta rock the dragon.
And this is this would technically be owned by Fox, and at the time that it comes out, hopefully will be owned by Disney.
Oh, so I think this is more of the Japanese company doing Dragon Ball.
Oh, okay.
So let me. I'm gonna pull this up. Because Dragon Ball Z, created, I think, in Japan, a toy animation. Okay. So they would own it. The live action movie rights are owned by Fox. So we could see a live action Dragon Ball movie from Disney if they wanted to make one. I don't think they should make one.
I think they have some other priorities.
Yeah, they were like, if we gotta nix something, Dragon Ball, we'll give it back. Anyone can have it.
Safe one to nix. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's 2008 feature, and we'll work on that, and of course, hopefully we don't get another Broly movie. So
yeah,
that's all we can hope for. Well, Brian, we made it through our show notes here, a little longer than usual, but we had a lot of good stuff to go through this week. So thanks for coming on and being a part of this, and kind of just listening to me ramble. That's always a plus.
Absolutely. I like you said, a lot of great news this week, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and inaccurately talk about Kick-Ass 2.
Well, I mean, if you didn't mess something up, it wouldn't be a Superhero Slate episode. That's kind of how we view
Happy
it.
to hear it.
Yeah, so thanks for that. If people want to see what you're up to, Brian, what you're doing, where can people find you at?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at PicketFence14 and at Hippos for Hire. I have a series of custom artwork I do of hippos as superheroes and pop culture figures. So stop by hipposforhire.com or at hipposforhires on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
They're really cool. I'm happy / proud to have been a part of this for a long time. I like Brian's hippo versions of stuff, and I remember coming up with the Hippos for Hire. I think we're at C2E2, and we're like, this works out great. Why would you not do this?
Chris was there for the inception of the name for that, and actually I have a Goku Saiyan hippo that you pitched to me that we made a little sketch of, I believe, back in 2006. So. You've been in on this for a while now.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Also, Brian's selling himself a little short. Comic UI. Always head over to Comic UI. We do a lot of stuff on there. Just go to comicui.com. We work a lot on the new stuff. Brian works a lot on the back end, so we appreciate you making that work for everybody.
It's true.
So there's that.
Thank you.
No problem. As usual, you can find me on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN. Post some stuff up there. I was going to post something. I forgot I don't know. Got a lot going on this week. Maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, some good Christmas stuff. Be posting on there, showing it off. Be like, people like me. Look at this. They bought me stuff. You can also head over to Comic UI and watch the video we made for the countdown to Infinity War with the proper way to watch the movies. I agree. I think, don't you, Brian?
I do.
And you were there. You saw me do the math. I'm like, no, people are wrong. You can't start in January to watch all these.
Yeah, I feel like that was a pretty good public service because people were going to be selling themselves short.
Yeah, and you also don't start with Captain America. I don't care if that's the first one chronologically. You can't start with it. It's a flashback. You don't
start with the Phantom Menace. You don't start with Captain America.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good way to look at it. So there's that. Also, Film Side Chats podcast, or go to YouTube, search the DNN, and see the videos we do there. Also, as a public service announcement, we will be taking next week off, Superhero Slate, for the holidays. Christmas, go spend time with your friends, your family. If you want to give the gift of Superhero Slate for Christmas, we won't care. If you want to, we can be like, he paid $10 for this, whatever. Superhero Slate. Actually, we're free. We're always free. I did buy myself some shirts this week, Brian. I sent you the colors.
I was gonna say, if you need holiday stocking stuffers, you guys have some pretty incredible T-shirt designs coming out on there.
Yes. Thanks to Mike for drawing those up. We have our new review image on there. I've got that on a red one and a teal one coming in. So I'm gonna take a picture. The teal one's gonna be an interesting, test. So
I'm excited to see how that one comes out.
Yeah, I want to see that. So I'll be putting some of those pictures up. And as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That's where you can find us. You can also see our upcoming movie review slate there, so you can check that out. You can also find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or subscribing to us right to your email inbox. You can also head over to Facebook, like us on Facebook, to see what we got there. Follow us on Twitter, or follow us on Instagram. If you want to get those shirts Brian was talking about, you can head over to superheroslate.com/store. They'll take you over to TeePublic. You can buy your shirts up and get them all shipped to your house. Get your orders. They're looking good. Mine are still holding up.
They hold up great, comfortable as ever.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy it. So there's that. And as always, if you want to be a super fan like Andrew Bagnara or Brian, I know you share the show with people, or at least argue with them about it sometimes.
That's right.
Be a super fan, share the show with a buddy, share the show with the pal, and we'll be here Not next week, but we'll be here before the end of the year. That's for sure. So, anything else you want to add, Brian, before we, I guess, kill the mics?
Thanks again for having me on the show, and hope the mic's back and you guys are safe and sound 2 weeks from now.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. We'll catch you guys next week.
All right.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Always end on a strong joke. Yep. But yeah.